Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Bahashem Rakakbadash, and I want to say Shalom to our Akbat out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. And this one's titled, These Prideful Women Are Being Humbled by the Lord. Okay? These prideful women are being humbled by the Lord. And this is a video that I downloaded from off of Reddit. I'm just going to start doing that. I found out if I go into it a certain type of way, I can actually download the video, not just the photos. So I download it here. And that way I don't have to go through Reddit and all that stuff. Unless I want to get the comments, right? And it's a video from a couple days ago. I can't remember when it was. Let's see. It says saved on Sunday. I think it's Wednesday currently, so it's been a couple days. So and you see it's this how it started versus how it's going, right? It's this prideful Edomite woman. And I'm going to go ahead and play it and let y'all listen to it. Being demanding about, oh, you're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and this is what you're going to do as a man. You're going to take me here. We're not going to do that. We're going to do what I want to do. And then, a big change in her womanhood at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and let it roll, all right? And then we'll get some scriptures on it. And Lord won't be edifying. So here you go.
I do not accept a coffee or a walk as a possible date option, and neither should you. First of all, I'm not a dog that needs to be walked. Second, I have an espresso machine at home, works fabulous. We're not doing drinks either. You're gonna try to get me drunk and take me back home. No. We are doing dinner. You're gonna pick me up. We're gonna come to the restaurant. We're gonna see your table manners. We're gonna see what you order. We're gonna see, do you hold your chopsticks correctly? We're just gonna, study you a bit. Okay, so dinner it is.
I started the egg freezing process. I did some preliminary tests which showed that my egg count is really low. The doctors did tell me that might affect my fertility. It's just so sad. I've been like crying the entire day. Like I just feel this giant pain in my stomach right now.
I do not accept a coffee or a walk.
So there you see it. Being prideful, making demands, all right, not allowing the man to lead and do, whatever it is. And then come to find out that her eggs are running out, right? So she's not going to even, more than likely, said it might affect her fertility. So more than likely, probably won't even be able to birth children. And judging off of her face, I'd assume, well, she's got a lot of makeup on. I'd say she's probably, at the youngest, maybe 26, right? 25. More than likely, I'd guess around 27 through 30, right? So, running out of time, right? And, that's how the women in the world, and, we're not supposed to be procreating really right now as it is because we're right close to the end. That's just going to bring extra hells upon you, all right, the men that are in the truth. But these women out in the world, they don't know what's going on, right? They don't know how little or much time that they do or don't have, okay? And these women are trying to wait until they're 50, right, damn near to have kids. They want to, I'll settle down when I'm in my 40s, right? And you're going to end up fucking having a retarded kid, all right? You're going to end up having some kid with some type of fucking defect, all right, because you wanted to wait too long, all right? All because, you wanted to use all those early years to, date, and do whatever you want to do and make all these demands. And look, as we get closer to the end, all right, things are starting in a way to correct themselves. All right, the curses, while Jake, we're still under them, you're starting to see the curses fall upon Esau. All right, primarily, the other nations as well, but primarily you're seeing it on Esau. You're starting to see all the feminism slowly starting to dissolve. All right, masculinity start to have a slight rise. All right, things that, Babylon's customs are dying off and slowly. They're not going to be, and it's not going to be fully fixed until Yahushua comes back, of course. But we're starting to see a switch, man. And these men with these women, fuck them. All right, whatever, bitch. All right, and that's a good place to be in because she's saying you're not gonna walk me. I'm not a dog. All right, well, cool. I'm not gonna feed you. You're not a dog either. All right, I feed pets. All right, you can go and fucking feed yourself. All right, if I don't need to walk you because you're not a dog, and and we're not gonna do coffee because I have coffee at home. Well, guess what, bitch? I bet you got bologna at the house too. So make yourself a bologna sandwich and shut the fuck up, right? If you don't need to do all that, right? And notice I didn't like the demand. I'm gonna watch how you eat. I'm gonna watch how you eat. I'm gonna watch, like, as if the woman's not being analyzed in that situation as well. All right, as if the man's the only one that's under a watchful eye. All right, when they go out on a date. All right, and that's what these women do. They want all their demands satisfied. This, that, that. But if the man has any, things, oh, that's a red flag, girl. That's a red flag. Get away from him, because we had one question, or do you want kids, or do this, or do you cook? Do I cook? Or is that, yeah? I bet you're gonna ask me how much I make, or if I have a job, or if I have a car, or if I have a house, right? Or if I have kids, or if I have all these things. But when men start asking those questions, now we're misogynistic. All right. You can ask us how tall we are, but we can't ask how much you weigh, right? That's just how it is. And these women are starting to be humbled by the Lord, man. The Lord is humbling these women, because here it is, this woman, oh, I'm going to do this. I bet you thought you were a high value woman. You're not. All right. Especially not now. Now you can't even be an incubation machine, man. And that's the other thing you women got to realize, is that you need to stop putting yourself in a place of a man. Like, you're so great. All right. You got all this going on. You don't. All right. You don't. You're not meant to be set up to be the one to lead. Okay. That's like trying to, here it is, you're an oven trying to be the stove. All right. You can't be the stove. All right. That's not something that you can do. Or a hammer trying to be a screwdriver. All right. Or a piece of tape trying to be a sewing needle. All right. Stop doing it. They all have their purpose. We all have our purpose. Women have their purpose. Men have their purpose. Children have their purpose. All right. But at no point in time should those purposes being mixed up. All right. No point. It says directly in the Bible, the father is the head of the son. The son is the head of man. Man is the head of woman. Woman is the head. Well, and that's where it stops. But if you want to continue it, women would be the head of the children. Okay. So that shows you a direct order. And also in the Bible, it says, let everything be done decently and in order. Let's go get that real quick. Okay. 1 Corinthians 14:40, right there. Let all things be done decently and in order. Okay. Let all things be done decently and in order. So a woman thinking herself to be over a man, that's not in order. All right. That's out of order. Okay. That's not something that should be being done. Okay. Not that these women would care. Not these women would care. Because, again, they want to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And if the man does anything, he's hostile. He's a red flag. He's a misogynist. All right. He's this, he's that, he's that. But a woman can be 375 fucking pounds, not cook, not clean, have no eggs, all right, and be apparently God's gift to men. Right? Apparently. Right? That's how they think. All right. And these other women help with their delusion. They're like, girl, you're bad. Yeah, you're bad. Fucking bleh, bad, bad. Right? Bad. Not a baddie, but just bad. All right. And that's the state of the society. And we're starting to see it change, though, which is great. Call all you how about you meow shy for that. We're starting to see these women being humbled. All right. I've seen plenty of videos just online. I saw this guy was streaming. It says, I don't remember what it was. I can't remember what she said exactly. But they were bowling, and she says, "If I get a strike, you get to kiss me," or something like that. And he said, no, I don't want to kiss you." And then she literally like dropped her bowling ball off and like fucking walked out the door crying, right? Because she didn't. That's all that she was. All right, is all she had was her looks. And when men are like, fuck you, I don't give a fuck. All right, this woman's a piece of shit despite what she looks like. All right, you think about it. These women are a plagiarized gold coin. All right, they look like a gold coin. All right, but really it's just copper underneath. Okay, and what's the fucking point? Okay, we're not looking for copper. We're looking for gold. Okay, and a lot of you bitches are just fucking gold plated copper, and we don't want that. All right, we don't want that. We're looking for gold. Okay, we're looking for gold, and a lot of us, by the way, in this truth, have already found it. All right, we already have women. Okay, so and in the end, it says about seven. Right here, Isaiah 4:1, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, "We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name and take away our reproach." So there's a bunch of things, a bunch of takeaways from this. One, in the end, you women are going to be desperate because you know your salvation is primarily going to come through a man. Okay? Primarily is going to come through a man. And if you don't have one, You're going to be trying to get one as soon as possible. But a lot of you women don't have men because you're not ready for a man. A man hasn't been delegated to you, all right? Because the Lord doesn't want that man to be under a fucking vexation that you are, all right? You women that don't have men, it's very telling. Okay, it's very telling. You women, it's truth as well. You don't have a man. Well, why is that? All right. Have you not been looking, or have you been looking and been unsuccessful? Okay. Or because if you've been looking and been unsuccessful, that shows you Yahweh Shem Shai is holding back men from getting with you. Okay, that means you got some shit you need to work on, right? But a lot of these women, they're too busy thinking. See, the thing is, and I've seen it. A lot of these women, I have seen it with my own two eyes. I tell no lies. All right, no mean to rhyme, but a lot of these women that call themselves in the truth, they have a problem with men still. They have an underlying issue with men still. And how are you going to be in this truth with an underlying issue from men? All right, when Yahweh Shem Shai, the Father, though both the Father and the Son, all right, and the prophets, all right, all men. Here it is. You're going to have an issue with men when all mind you, in the Blue Letter Bible, it defines man as the most notable gender. So you're going to have an issue with the most notable gender. All right, all the prophets. All right, the men of the Lord. All right, the Lord Himself, the Father and the Son. All right, separate entities. All right, working together for one purpose. All right, and you're going to have that issue. So what's the fucking point, man? What's the point? It doesn't make any sense. But keep on doing what you're doing. Okay, see how it goes for you. It's not going to go well, but in that day, these women are going to be so because they're getting to the point where these women are really starting to freak out. All right, especially when they get older. The younger ones, they still have their hubris, but I've seen videos of 40 or 50-year-old women on the internet crying and saying, "I waited too long," just ridiculous. All right, well, too bad, so sad. Now you're 50, and guess what? A 50-year-old man can get with a 30-year-old woman. A 50-year-old woman. Ain't no 30-year-old man gonna want you, right? Ain't no 20-year-old man gonna want you, but a 20-year-old woman will get with a 50-year-old man. Okay, you got to realize that your looks are temporary. You females out there, all right, you fee-fails, all right. That's some of the brothers say. You fee-fails, all right, because here it is. You don't even act feminine. The one thing here it is, men. The one trait you want out of men is masculinity. You want them to be able to guide the house, all right, pay for you, do all these different things, and be masculine, protect you. But you don't want to do any of the things that are feminine, all right. You don't want to make yourself look nice. You don't want to cook or clean or be a mother, all right, and don't want to be submissive under your husband. You don't want to do any of those things. But a man's got to do all the feminine things. But if a man doesn't do any of the masculine things, then he's a faggot, right? He's got to be able to be strong. He's got to be able to be a protector. He's got to be a provider. He's got to be able to do all these things, which are all traditionally masculine traits. But you don't want to have any of the feminine traits. So what's the trade-off? That's like me giving you $100 and you give me back a penny. Why anyone in their right mind would do that is beyond me, right? Why would you do that? You wouldn't. Not if you were smart. Not if you were smart, you wouldn't. Okay, and these women are going to find out, man. These women are going to find out real quick because in the end days, as we're getting into them, they're going to be trying to find men. And also, like I say, in those days, some of us men, the men, the 144, at least, I know for sure. And the men are going to be starting to get types of spiritual power. All right, we're going to be starting to get it. And like I said, the Lord can put a spirit on you. So here it is. There's this woman that comes up to you and she says, "Please, please, please, my Lord, please, please, let me be your wife, please, so I can get out of here, please." And being that some of the men are going to have, or if you're a man of the Lord, a real man of the Lord, you're going to have spiritual power to an extent. All right, of course, not as a strong extent as going to be fully unlocked in the kingdom, but the Lord's going to have, some men are going to, we don't know exactly. Some men might be able to, fly around and whip someone out of trouble real quick. All right, the 144,000, right? But to an extent, any man of the Lord is going to have some extent of spiritual power. Okay, regardless of what it is. And part of that spiritual power could be that when you come up, he gets a flash in his mind, like a vision, all right, of how you were up until this point, all right. And so is you hitting your baby daddy and punching him and calling the cops on him and trying to pull a gun on him and calling his kids ugly and say you're a piece of shit just like your dad and doing all these things. And guess what? That man's gonna say, "Fuck, get away from me, you vile she beast. All right, get away from me. I don't want anything to do with you, you fucking wildebeest. Get out of here, please." As you're fucking breaking down in tears, right? That's how it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna be. And you're just like, well, no. Guess what? Nobody gives a fuck about looks in those days. We're not gonna care. Oh, she's pretty. Let me save her. No. Are you gonna slow us down or not? All right. And are you actually decent or are you not decent? Because if you're not decent, then fuck off. All right. If you ain't decent, you can get from around here. All right. So this is Isaiah 13:11, and this is coming, all right, and we're starting to see it in bits and pieces right now. It says, but this is dealing with destruction. Isaiah 13:11, and I will punish. Don't want to read up. Yeah, we'll get from 10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. There's going to be, darkness, all right, period of darkness. It says, and I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. And again, this is right here. Got to get 12. And I will make the man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. And that's the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, because I actually forgot that was down there. I got this specifically for verse 11. I forgot that was down there. So that's all through the spirit. I call all Yahweh Shai for that. But yeah, man. So we're starting to see, you know, um, things happen in the world, but it's not the day, called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, or Armageddon, as people say, right? It's not that day yet. And in that day, it says, "I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease." We're already starting to see, the arrogancy of the pride to cease just a little bit because they're starting to get humbled. But when this day hits, the day of the Lord, it's gonna be bad, man. It's gonna be bad. There's never they're not gonna have any reason, to be proud. That's gonna cease right out the way because you can't very well be proud when your legs getting gnawed on by a wild ravenous wolf, all right, or some type of coyote or a lion that escaped from the San Diego Zoo. All right, you're not gonna be able to be proud when that's happening, right? What else do I want to get? Let me see. So yeah, man, it's these women, man, and these men, don't get it twisted. All right, these men are being proud too, but these women got like this special flavor. They got a special variety of it that's just irksome, man. It's just like they really know. They just do it the worst, right? They're the most proud. Like they have this specific style of pride that just gets under your skin, man. And it's horrible, and that's what happens to these women, right? Proverbs 16 and 18, and these men as well. Don't get me twisted. Proverbs 16 and 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. This is 19. Better it is to be of an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. And these women are being forcibly humbled. All right, here it is. They'll be pride, my looks, and then they'll get in some type of horrible accident, and all their hair will fall out. All right, or their face will get mangled, or they'll lose all their teeth, right, or something, right? So, and here it is. All you had was your looks, and your looks were taken away from you from Yahweh Shem Shai. Now you've been forcibly humbled. What are you going to do now, right? All you had was your big titties and your fat ass and your looks, all right? And something happened where you lost your left titty, all right? And something happened to your ass to where now it's flat, it deflated, all right? And your looks, they don't look so good no more because you were in an accident and it fucked your nose up, all right? And your left eye is all crooked, right? So here it is, all you had your looks and your personality was shit. You couldn't cook, you couldn't clean, you didn't want to have kids, you weren't nice, you're not a good wife, you're not submissive, all right, so you have no redeemable qualities at all. Essentially, you're a garbage bag sitting out on the corner waiting for it to be taken, right? Taken away, because that's it. All you had is gone. Okay, you're leftovers, scrap, and that's what you women do. You wait, while your looks diminish and diminish and diminish and diminish, and by the time you're 50 and you don't look like you were when you were 20, no man wants to pick you anymore. All right. And I've seen a lot of these, women out here sitting in this parking lot that you can tell all they really have is their pseudo looks, and a lot of them ain't even that good looking, right? And they think they're the shit. To quote, what's that bitch's name? Um, give me a minute. Ice Spice. All right, Ice Spice. Okay. To quote her, she says, "You think you're the shit? You're not even the fart." Right? That stupid ass song she did. She's cute, but she can't rap for the life of her. All right. But that's the thing, man. A lot of these women think they're the shit, and they're not even the fart, man. They're not even close to the bubble in the gut before the fart comes, and yet they're thinking they're the whole shit. You ain't, okay? You ain't, man. You ain't. You ain't got it. You ain't got it. All right. And but they think they are though, but they ain't. You can tell they ain't. All right. So, again, Proverbs 16 and 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. And these women are the ones that talk shit about the women that actually have become submissive to a man. But anytime you see a woman that's become submissive to a man out there, you see these moms with their children, they're walking around pregnant. They look happy. All right. They look joyous. Okay. They look like actually, they've been fulfilled. Okay. But these women out here, they're just, ugly harlot beasts walking around angry and snappy all the time. All right. So if you actually humbled yourself and actually became a likened unto a good woman, you probably have a happier life. Okay, but you don't want to. All right, because you don't need no man. Right? You don't need no man. Fuck those men and fuck them kids to go along with it. Right? So yeah, man. And then finally, uh Proverbs 11:2. It says, "When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom." Okay? So what does this mean? When pride cometh, then cometh shame. So when you're prideful, that only lasts like for a moment. All right? It's only for a moment. Okay? You're prideful, and then something happens in a blink of an eye where now you're not proud anymore. Okay? I seen it happen with my old boss. Oh, I've seen it happen with myself in the past, right? I've seen it happen with my old boss, talking about, oh, I'm so good, I'm this, I'm that. I got all these investment properties and this and this and this and that and the other, right? And then, he ended up getting a property that he couldn't even use, right? I don't even work at that job anymore, so I can say it now. That guy was a how do I want to say it? I don't know if it'll get flat. The guy was a sex offender, right? The guy was a sex offender. He bought this house because he rented it out for to do housing for other sex offenders, right? And he was so proud about his investments. He was making money and all these different things, and he bought a house and it happened to be like like I think he had to be like 200 feet or something from a playground or whatever, and he bought it because it was, but the school was closer than 200 feet, and the playground was on that school grounds, so they considered the whole school as the playground, so he couldn't even rent that house out. Couldn't even do anything with it, right? And it was in a bad part of town, all right? So no one's going to want that shit. So that showed you. And then shortly after that, started treating me like shit, all right? And then he got fired, and then shortly after I got fired, right? But yeah, that shows you, man, that pride, all right? That pride. And really, with that job, I was being a little prideful too. So there's situations happen with that, man. So with that, when pride cometh, then cometh shame. But with the lowly is wisdom. Let's go and get this in a good news. All right. It says, "People who are proud will soon be disgraced. It is wiser to be modest." Let's get the easy read version. "Proud and boastful people will be shamed, but wisdom stays with those who are modest and humble." And then let's get Bible in Basic English. It says, "When pride comes, there comes shame, but wisdom is with the quiet in spirit." And then let's go back to the King James version. Actually, let's go to the King James with the Strongs, and then let's look up lowly means humble. Okay, it could also mean humiliate, but humble. And then really, what we got to do is define humble. Meek. All right, right here. Humble, having or showing a modest estimate of one's value or importance, not arrogant or self-important. There you go. That's perfect. Perfect definition. So not being self-important, thinking I'm so this, I'm so that. Really, you're not on the grand scale of things. You're really not. Okay. So you didn't create anything. You didn't create any animals. Okay. You didn't create waters or earths or planets or man. So what do you have to be proud about? Okay. All that you have was given by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So instead of being proud, you should be thankful to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for giving you the skills that you do have. Okay. Good advice there, Lord willing. Right? That's what I try to say. So even when I end up doing something, whether it be on the computer or some creation I'm doing, and I end up pulling it off, that's all through the Spirit. So I say, hey, call all Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for that. I didn't even know it was going to work like that. Call all Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. There's even sometimes, it seems simple, right? But we stay praising the Lord. All right. It seems simple. Oh, that's a little simple. Something so small. It's something so small, but we wouldn't have been able to accomplish even something that small, or regardless of something bigger, if it wasn't for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So we need Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So call all Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for everything, right? But that's a lesson. I don't know necessarily how long it went, but Lord willing, was edifying. If it was too short, I'll see about maybe putting a little something else together. But that's where I'm gonna close this one out. So Lord willing, was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.